Gavin, great to see you. Now, it has been scrapped, but who's the winner and who's the loser out of this?
Well, I think there's a number of winners. I don't know if there's any particular losers out of all of this. Obviously, the steelmakers are going to be very happy in Europe and in Asia. They've been fighting this deal for the last 18 months since it was first proposed, so they're obviously going to be very happy with the outcome. I guess Rio Tinto is the other winner. You know, it was a deal. This particular deal was struck in June last year when Rio was under a lot of financial pressure. It had high debt levels as a result of the Alcan acquisition. The company was looking at a whole range of options in terms of reducing its debt. And, you know, this was one particular deal at the time that was going to bring some cash into the company. And, you know, probably had some strategic value to Rio Tinto at the time. But as markets have, I guess, progressed, Rio's financial position has improved significantly. Its balance sheet isn't under the same sort of pressure as it was 18 months ago. So as time has passed, this is a deal that really hasn't been necessary for Rio Tinto. There's always been a feeling in the marketplace that BHP was getting the better end of this deal. So I think Rio management and certainly Rio shareholders would be cheering this particular outcome. But even for BHP, I don't necessarily think that this is a real downside. I don't think the market had really ever thought that
Gavin,
this deal was going to get up.
Gavin, one thing also, I mean, according to a report, we've got the two companies already agreeing on a plan B where they would share infrastructure and perhaps blending ore here as well. What do you know about that?
Well, certainly the infrastructure spending, or sharing, should I say, has been given some press here over recent days. It makes a lot of sense, and I think what essentially that means would be BHP and Rio Tinto would get access to each other's railway lines in the Pilbara and to each other's ports. So I think that makes a lot of sense. It certainly wouldn't draw the same sort of regulatory fire or scrutiny. Would probably just basically need the approval of the WA government in order for that to get up, and I wouldn't foresee any major impediments to that happening. The only, I guess, negative to that would be the independent players in the iron ore industry that have been screaming for years to try and get on the BHP and Rio Tinto railways. All of a sudden they're going to be saying, well, if it's good enough for you guys to get access to each other's railway infrastructure, why can't we? So, you know, that's something I think BHP and Rio Tinto would have to face up to.
Right, I'm going to shift topics and ask you about the commodities in markets right now, individual commodities, and ask what you're buying and what you're recommending.
Sure. Well, as far as specific commodities are concerned, still very bullish on gold, longer term, bigger picture. I do think, though, that the gold price has run very strongly over a very, very short space of time, and it wouldn't surprise me if there is a little bit of profit taking coming into the market that might dampen the price of gold for maybe in the next month or two. I think the oil price is going to hold up very well as a result of this US dollar persistent weakness. I think investors that might be taking some money out of the gold market might look to oil. Typically, we're coming into a peak demand period as far as oil is concerned from about December onwards, so it wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing some money come into the gold, out of gold and into the oil sector, and also some of the key base metals as well. Copper, the fundamentals for copper look outstanding. You know, China needs a lot of copper. Demand is going through the roof. At the same time, costs in terms of producing copper are rising. We're seeing less world-class deposits coming onto the market. I think copper is probably the key base metal to be looking at the present time.
Gavin, thanks a lot for that.